1 minute warning!
To the goofball army out there, hi at the families, tell them to get to the next room, tell them to go to your neighbors, because we got goofball news to go over, and it might get crazy.
Typically does, guys. If it's your first episode ever, you got like 30 seconds before we start, so not enough time to go to the bathroom, but go get a drink, because trust me, you're probably going to need it there. In the meantime, the rest, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. That way you know about future episodes as well, guys. Buckle your seatbelts if you haven't already. Make sure your tray is in the upright position here, guys, because we are just about ready to get going. And like, oof.
Guys, if you want a crazy ride going forward, a bunch of nonsense, but all nothing but the truth about the Giants, listen in, buckle in, tell a friend.
Let's go.
And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by
me, Rob, and hey, happy hump day, guys.
Hump day. And listen, we got a lot to go over here today, not just humping. We got to go over the defense.
The D.
We the D. So we did discuss, obviously, on Monday, the potential offensive signings here, which hopefully won't be as offensive as prior offensive signings. But we got to go over the defense now today, guys. And we got a lot of people to go over here, same as we did last time when we went like almost like it was an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes going over guys for the offense. We have a lot to go over for the defense as well, because let's be honest, the offense was not the problem last year, which is weird to say as a Giants fan.
Very weird to say.
The defense was the problem, and we got to fix that defense, and it's going to take some bodies to fix that. Obviously, better coaching, which we're going to hopefully have. That's definitely part of it there, but you know, the better players as well. So let's break right into it here, talking about some potential new Giants. All righty. So same as with the offense, guys. Listen, it all starts with up front. It does. And that's pretty obviously the biggest problem I think the Giants had last year is the defensive line trying to stop the run, you know, setting that tone, setting the line of scrimmage, controlling it.
You say just last year? Because that's it's been an issue for quite some time.
Yeah, but, you know, I feel like last year more than ever because of the fact that you saw literally multiple rushers on the same team get over 100 yards on us. You saw Dexter Lawrence just feel like he was giving up. A lot of people are thinking at this point, like, this is an issue.
Yeah.
And the issue's got to get fixed. So
definitely bad coaching, but it was
a lot of bad everything. By the way, I find it funny that I know I see Anthony coming in here now. See, people are used to your 9:05 start now. That it's 10 o'clock. We start on time today, and you're like, whoa, they're early. Hold on.
Wait a minute.
Let's go over the defensive line here because we have a lot of guys to go over. It all starts with one guy that I think you and I have had this discussion. I want to say for like 3 or 4 seasons now, as far as a guy that Giants should look at, and that's Calais Campbell, who, believe it or not, is 39 freaking years old now.
Gives me hope,
and still playing good. He's still playing good. He's like the Tom Brady of like defensive linemen here now, it seems like. So again, 39 years old. Now, again, I know Jay loves when I do the SPO track. We're gonna do it anyway, because that's the option I have. No, but
it's you missed it.
They're like the only one out there that's a bigger name that goes, here's what I think this player will get for every player that makes it easier. So they're suggesting they think he's gonna get $10.9 million. I don't think so. He made 5.5 last year. Like, he's an older player. There's not a ton of market for him necessarily because of that. And not to mention, he's very picky on where he wants to go.
Yeah, it's dealing with vacuum sales. I'm just trying to say, like, when you suck, you sell cheap, especially if you're going to pick where you're going to go. But he's a guy that's at his age. I mean, he's the Dyson V6 and not the V15 where we're at, but he's still producing like a V12. So like, I do feel like he's going to get more than what he made last year, but at the same time, to double his salary is kind of ridiculous.
I think you're to see, if anything, you'll see about the $5 million number again. So that's one of the reasons I bring that up
You
specifically for him.
might see him at 7, but
Yeah.
when you're talking football, $5.5 million, it's nothing.
No. And listen, he was still a damn good player last year. 17 games, 43 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 2 passes deflected, and a 72.2 PFF grade. And keep in mind, guys, there are Giants ties now with him. He played for John Harbaugh for a couple of years in Baltimore. Really liked his time there. Like, he spoke very glowingly of his time with the Ravens. Also, there's a second tie in him as well, as our linebackers coach Frank Bush also was with him with the Falcons. Obviously, he's not he wasn't a linebacker, but the two are on the same defensive side of the ball there. So we'll see. I'd like him. I just think he's a 1-year stopgap kind of guy if you get it. And here's the thing as well. He's considering retiring. He has officially said that. He hasn't said if he would or not. So, last I heard, he's still saying he's complimenting it,
Yeah. Oh, hold on, real fast. There's no Dyson giveaways in this podcast. Just try to say. They even Dustbusters. Just gotta give it out there.
There's Jay already complaining about the SPO track. Listen, you give me a second option, Jay, of who lists all the players and what they think are going to make, and I'll take a look at it. Like, so like I said, I think Calais Campbell's an interesting option though to have on there for, like I said, for a year. That's what he'd be. But the funny thing is, he said the same thing for 3 years now.
And he's that player. He's literally like, maybe just one more year. That's not the guy you're going to sign to a 3-year contract or a 2-year contract. He's at that stage of his career where he's still producing.
Yeah.
But how much more does he have in the tank? It's a year contract. That's what you got to do with a guy like that. And as long as he's producing, like, make that mill. Well, multiple mil, bro.
Listen, as long as he wants to play is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
You continue playing as long as you want to play. I hate when people they got to retire unless it's something that's like a player like let's say, for example, Russell Wilson, not to be cruel about it, but time has obviously passed him by. You know, so that's when it makes sense to let somebody say, hey, you should retire now. But Campbell's still playing good. He's still playing solid. So I have no problem with them bringing him in for a year and trying to develop young players in the meantime and get it rolling with them,
Yeah. And real fast, Jay, you can remodel your bathroom for $3K, but you got to do it yourself.
You can.
Just say, you got to do it yourself. That's the supplies.
No, he's complaining about the SPO track thing.
Yeah, I know.
SPO track really bothers Jay. I'm not sure why. It is what it is. Like I said, give me another option. I'm happy to put it up. Otherwise, in the meantime, I'm going with the information I got.
I'm saying I helped expand my my uncle's bathroom last year, and it was under 2K. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, though. Whoever you go with, no one's ever right, because when it boils down to it, is you have a bunch of people potentially looking to sign somebody, and that's what sets the market, is what teams are going to pay. That's what it is. Whatever a team's willing to pay, that's what they're going to get paid.
It's called supply and demand.
Yeah. And nobody has a way of knowing that ahead of time. You can just see estimates. That's all there is to it. So we got another veteran option here. David Onyemata, and 33 years old, so a little bit younger. Sounds weird to say a little bit younger at 33, but when you started off with a 39-year-old, there's nowhere to go but down, basically. Spotrac saying $8.57 million is what they're expecting his annual value to be. Last year with the Falcons, 17 games, 62 tackles, 1 sack, 7 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits, and a 78.2 PFF score. Again, he has the Frank Bush connection. Frank Bush, obviously, again, was a defensive coach with the Falcons there during his time there. So, that's the only connection the Giants staff has to him. And I am looking specifically when we're doing this, guys, of who's people that either fit a need, fit a scheme, or fit a connection at that point there. I do want to say real quick, because Jay says Calais is probably only going to go to a contender, not last place in the NFC East. Dude, he played for the Cardinals last year. And he's mentioned multiple times he loved playing for Harbaugh. So I wouldn't be quick to say that. If he didn't play for there, I would say yes. But like I said, I think that's. I don't think it's as far fetched as we might have been able to say last couple of years. Because you and I said last couple of years of Calais Campbell, like we'd love to have him, but I don't think he wants to come here.
And you also got to think about too. And once again, we're a Giants podcast, so we're going to be a little biased, but we're also looking at the reality of what's going by. The Commanders with Jalen Daniels 2 years ago, phenomenal. Last year, not so much, couldn't stay healthy. Who knows how they come out this year? Did he get RG3? Like, is he going to play good this year? They may be the worst in the league in this division. They may be better than they were last year, but not much. They could be what they were 2 years ago. We don't know. The Eagles
never know every year.
The Eagles have been on a little bit of decline, even though they won the Super Bowl. But they like
who had the Patriots, the Seahawks, the Super Bowl this year? Just saying, you never know.
No one.
You never know.
And the Cowboys, let's see where they go. So like they could be contenders, and we could go back to NFC a beast, not the least. So that's
we'll see. Like I said, anything can happen. This is way too early in the offseason to know, that's for sure. But Onyemata, like I said, another good option there as well. And again, this is depending on also how much the Giants want to spend on the defensive line. Keep in mind, again, we said, Nacho's gone. So you're going to have to replace him, obviously, potentially, unless you want to go ahead and do it with the draft or something like that. But I hate going into a draft with a need. I feel like you can't go in with a full-on, like, this is a hole, we have to fill it kind of scenario. That doesn't typically go very well. The Giants have done that a lot of years, don't get me wrong, but it's not really, the good way to go. You want to go ahead and at least have somebody who you can go, okay, this is our starter, but if we draft someone better, there we go. You know what I mean?
And it's also viable to the person you just drafted to have a veteran there to lead them on the way to success down the road.
Yeah.
And
a guy who's 33 years old is a perfect scenario for that. You let him play for like 2 years, you cut him, and then you hopefully the young guy's ready to go.
Exactly. Or if the veteran gets hurt, have him come in, step in, and, get some real time action, or just take him out of the game in the fourth quarter when we're in the lead.
Yeah, there's plenty of options there. So now, if you do want to go a younger guy, here's another option that's a younger guy. Logan Hall, still just 25 years old, getting off his rookie deal with the Bucs there. Now, Spotrac's saying $7.97 million is what they're thinking. Now, 17 games last year, 39 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 6 QB hits, 1 forced fumble, and a 66.8 PFF grade. Not one of my top guys, but I like the age. And I think that's the interesting thing. Keep in mind, a couple of years ago, 25 years old is what guys were coming into the draft practically as.
COVID years, man. You got to love it.
Like, you're still getting a player when he's young. So, he's still developing. He hasn't reached his peak yet. So, but you're going to pay because of that too. You're paying for what he could potentially become. And you know how much I love paying for potential. I hate that with a passion.
I know. Look at how much you bash Burns.
No, I didn't bash Burns. I bashed the contract we gave Burns, which he lived up to last year. But we'll see. We'll still see how that goes in the end because he didn't live up to the first year.
We shall see.
We shall see. And listen, I love to be wrong with the Giants. You know that. If I'm ever negative, I love to be wrong. I will always root for the Giants over my own opinion. Next up, John Franklin Myers, 29 years old, $7.87 million. They're saying last year played with the Broncos, which, one of my things I love. Take from opponents, take from successful, in this case, defenses.
One of the better defenses in the league, top 5, arguably.
Yeah. It proves you can have a good unit with them as part of it.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you already know they're a good cog and a good defense. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to go, I wonder how they would fit. Maybe it's the team they're on that's the issue. Like, how he fits anymore. Last year,
connections too.
Yeah. Last year, 16 games, 25 tackles, 7.5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 15 QB hits, and a 61.3 PFF grade. Now, I don't think he's the best fit for us because he's much better against the pass than he is against the run. We need to stop the run. But I'm going to include him on the list here because of the fact that he has connections for when he was a Jet with Denard Wilson, our defensive coordinator, and again, Frank Bush. We talked about we hired Frank Bush. This guy's been around on every single team here for like 30, 40 years here, going back to the Houston Oilers. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys with connections to Frank Bush. Bush has been around.
Bush.
Yes, exactly. But like I said, I don't think he's the best fit, but I'm going to put him on there on the list for you guys because he is one of the bigger names on defensive line. He's got the connections to the Giants coaching staff, and that kind of stuff does matter. Sheldon Rankings, 31 years old now, 7.51 million is what they're saying. Played with the Texans last year. Again, take from great defenses. 35 tackles, 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 9 QB hits, and 1 fumble recovery, and a 73.2 PFF grade. Again, just fits that need. Solid veteran guy. That's what I'm looking for. I want guys who are solid. I want guys that we know we can win with. I want guys that maybe have experience with our coaching staff potentially. That's what I'm looking at here. This is a guy that definitely fits that. Fits the circle of. This was on a great defense last year. Texans were amazing. Yeah. That defense was on fire.
Solid. Arguably the best in the league.
It's a solid argument. Like you could easily say, I think,
Yeah. I mean, you might have to give it to the Seahawks after the Super Bowl, but like it's arguably you say the Texans because I lean towards the Texans.
Yeah.
Just terrible offense.
We all know that Jay loves when people have hyphens in their last name. But that's like I said, that's what I think. Again, you're trying to change a culture here. You're trying to change a culture. The way you change a culture is bring in leaders, bring people that are born to win at that point. Because there's some people who have that mentality because they love the sport, they love the competition. The Giants haven't had that, so bring guys in from winners, bring guys in that had success. And try to change this culture up a little bit. I mean, be honest, you're already doing a huge part of that with the Harbaugh as the coach signing there. I mean, that's massive. But there's still people you need locker room guys that do that as well.
I was going to say there's like so much. Your head coach changes everything.
Yeah.
Your DC changes everything for that defense. Your defensive line coach changes everything. It just all sprinkles down. And now you're bringing a veteran guy that's been on the winning team, a better defense, one of the best defenses. And they come in there like, this is what we used to do. Like, yeah, this is what they're saying, but this is what we used to do. That all matters, especially to your young players who are trying to become the best players they could be.
Yep. Now, here's a guy that fits I have connections to the Giants part there. Another hyphenated last name, so Jay will love him. Sebastian Joseph Day, 30 years old, last year with the Titans, 17 games, 41 tackles, 2 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 6 QB hits, 1 fumble recovery, and a 66.6 PFF grade. This is a guy that
I have questions.
Okay.
They say never trust a man with 2 first names. What happens when it's 3?
That's a good question. I think it's like the math rule, like double positive is a negative and a double negative is a positive.
Could be, possibly.
That's what I'm going to go.
Are we jumping on the board? All right, let's go.
That's what I'm going to go with that as the solution there for. I don't know. I don't know what the rule. Everybody in the chat know what the rule is when you have a third last name there. But
third first name.
Third first name. Sorry, yes. But like I said, I think this is a decent potential here, and they're saying $6.5 million. By the way, you're basically replacing him with Nacho's money. And he's got experience, obviously, in the defense with Denard Wilson. That's a big part there because he was with Denard in Tennessee. Again, Frank Bush, obviously, there as well. Obviously, experience also with Tim Kelly, our offensive coordinator in the interim, and was their offensive coordinator at the time, and now back as the tight ends coach. So there's a lot of Titans, connections there. So, like I said, definitely a potential there. One last guy, Ray Lopez, 28 years old, $6.35 million. They're saying last year with the Lions, 17 games, 30 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 5 QB hits, 1 fumble, 1 forced fumble, and a 68.7 PFF grade. So, plenty of good guys on the defensive line, guys. A lot of these guys from winning teams, a lot of these guys from good defenses, a lot of them with connections to our coaching staff. We have options, guys.
Options.
That's what all I ask for is options in life. Because this is, like I said, this is a spot we can go into and say, you know what? Do we want to get a guy for $5-6 million? And, go ahead and say, here we go. This at least gets us a veteran, so we don't have to force somebody out there that's not ready. And then worst case scenario, Darius Alexander beats him out. Somebody we draft beats him out. That's fine.
That's why I bring these veteran guys in there. Sometimes you bring them to win, sometimes they bring them in to lose.
Yeah. And Money Mike says, got to free up some cap space before March 11th. Don't worry about that. There'll be plenty of cap space. I'm telling you, trust me, do not worry about that. There's so many guys about to get cut, it's not even funny.
Jay comes in saying, my head looks massive tonight. Bro, it's massive every night.
Yes, he's Irish.
Yeah. You see, how hard it is to buy fitted hats? You know how hard it is to buy fitted hats with this kind of name?
I've always said that somebody should create a big freaking hat company, specifically with Irish people in mind. And I can say this because I'm part Irish. It's okay. That's the rule. Anyway, let's get to the edge room here because, guys, this is a spot we will potentially need some help at here. And I know on paper you go, okay, what the hell? We got Brian Burns. We got Abdul Carter. We got Kayvon Thibodeau. Do we? That's the thing. If we trade Kayvon Thibodeau, which a lot of people are thinking we're going to, including myself, if we trade Kayvon Thibodeau, where's the depth? There's only so much you can get out of Timon Fox if you bring it back.
Yeah,
so we're going to have to look at some guys. So we got a few guys on here that fit the needs, so to speak, there of being veteran guys, again, with connections to this coaching staff because we're looking for backups. We're not looking for starters. That's what I got. Keep out that bit of sneeze. When you're fighting a sneeze and it hasn't quite come.
Oh,
I'm winning.
Dear.
I'm winning. Okay, there we go. I won. I won the battle. I can feel it going away. So anyway, I see sneezes, coughs there. See, my sneeze went to your cough. I'm not sure quite how that works. Anyway,
you pass it along.
Edge rushers specifically that fit that we have a connection to this coaching staff because we're not looking for starters. We're looking for backups, looking for depth guys, locker room guys who have a system that are knowledge of the system that we're going to be running. That's the kind of stuff we're looking at. So first off, we have Arnold Ebukati, 27 years old, played last year with the Falcons. They're saying $9.01 million is what Spotrac's saying. So he's on the higher side. If he goes for that high, I don't want him, to be very frank. But if all of a sudden the market drops out for him for whatever reason, he does have the connection to Frank Bush again. Again, Bush has been around forever. 17 games, 36 tackles, 2 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 6 QB hits, and 1 pass deflected, a 64.9 PFF grade. To be very frank, I feel like I don't understand why he's considered such a large market piece there. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not seeing anything on. And again, I'll be very frank. I haven't watched film on this guy. Maybe there's something on film that doesn't pop up. But that's why we're giving the PFF grades as well, because there's some guys that it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but it shows up on there. So I don't see a stat sheet. I don't see a PFF grade. I'd have to watch some tape to see if what I think he's actually worth at that point. But that's what they're saying is $9 million. So yeah, if the market drops and he's got a good connection with Bush at that point and wants to come in with the Giants, maybe give him a shot there to be the third guy. Because when we trade Kayvon, we're gonna need a guy. Let's be honest. Next time, Abdul Carter falls asleep in a meeting, we're gonna need a guy potentially to play for a quarter.
Like Kayvon, but
and you could never have enough pass rushers. So let's get to the guys that are more realistic cost-wise, though. Arden Key, 29 years old, $6.67 million. And I'll tell you guys flat out, this guy is one of those that you don't necessarily see the connection with until you see the history of him. He has definitely been around a lot of the coaching staff here because he played last year with the Titans. So you got Denard Wilson again, you got Frank Bush, got all the guys here.
And just right there, like he played with the Titans last year, and like you gotta run down the stats and how well he did last year with the Titans.
Yeah.
Like did not play good on offense or defense pretty much all year.
Yep.
So
he's a decent, like low end starter, high end backup kind of guy.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like he kind of fits the mold of. 12 games last year, 22 tackles, 4 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 11 QB hits, and a 63.7 PFF grade. And Spotrack's saying 6.67 million, which is what the going rate is going to be for a solid backup edge rusher. And beyond the connection to Tennessee, he also went to LSU. And LSU at the time had an outside linebackers coach, Dennis Johnson, our current defensive line coach. So there's all kinds of connections to this guy, to the coaching staff.
He's like a Lego.
Yeah, so it would not shock me at all if that's a guy all of a sudden you see at least coming in the building for a visit, having some discussions, whether they become public or not, we'll know. No, who knows?
Yeah.
But like I said, he fits the mold of what I think we're looking at. Here's one that I got to be honest with you guys and say, I'm a little shocked. And this is where I get it. Like Jason to tell me, oh, don't listen to Spotrack. I'm looking here at Jadeveon Clowney, who got brought in late to the Cowboys. 33 years old now. $5.71 million, you're saying. Last year with the Cowboys, 13 games, 41 tackles, 8.5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 10 QB hits, 4 passes deflected, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, and a 79.2 PFF grade.
It's a hell of a year saying for that.
In 13 games when he missed the training camp and everything. Obviously, there's still something left in the tank at 33. He's also, and this is why part of why that PFF grade is so much higher for him, he's a good run stopper. He does set an edge. This is not Azeez Ojulari a couple years ago, like where you're like, oh, the running back, where'd he go? Like he actually sets the edge. So I think that Jadeveon Clowney is the guy who can come in, be a third edge rusher, because he's getting a little later in his career now. Played for Harbaugh in Baltimore. So there's the connection there. But it all depends on what he wants. Because in the end, because he had that burst, somebody might want to bring him in as a starter. And I can't blame him for not wanting to be a backup until he has to be. Giants can't offer him that. Somebody might want to pay him big because he had 8.5 sacks in 13 games. History will tell you, though, that you are what you are, and he's never been a double-digit sack guy. So, you know, he's 33, okay? You're not going to go ahead and become that guy all of a sudden. It doesn't happen overnight like that, you know? Like, it's not like, you know, unless you've been hanging out with Barry Bonds and going to Balco or something. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So, like I said, I think a decent pick if you can get him to be a third edge rusher. I'd be pretty happy with that, you know? You know, and interesting career for Clowney too, coming up with the first overall pick and you know, never quite. I mean, look, he was the second pass rushing option in Houston because they had JJ Watt, you know?
Yeah. He was supposed to be the click that they're supposed to be the Batman and Robin, the duo over there. And
yeah.
It didn't work.
Definitely not that. And you know, Jay brought up the point as well, but the Cowboys bringing him back. That may be a potential, obviously. Takes 2 to tango. You know? But I said, I like him as a player. And I like the fact that he stops the run. And I think he puts us in a position that if we need a third edge rusher, and he really do want to occasionally put, you know, Carter in a linebacker on passing downs, whatever the case may be, or moving around towards like the middle. You have that. I just don't, like I said, I just don't know. Again, Spotrac, we talked about the one before with Calais Campbell where I thought that was way high. I think that's way low. But again, he was available during the season for the Cowboys just pick up off the streets. He's played on half the teams in the league, let's be honest.
Feels like it.
You know, and I look at guys like that and I go, what's wrong? You know, like, why is he moving around the league so much? And is there a personality issue because of that? You know,
I was literally about to say that.
Seahawks, Titans, Browns, Ravens, Panthers, Cowboys, all of that in his career. Since he stopped his time with the Texans, you're talking now, let's see here, 7 years. In the 7 years, the only team he's played for more than a season with is the Browns.
And let's be real. Of those 7 teams that he went around to at the time, did they have a winning season?
No. I mean, the Ravens obviously had their, you know.
Yeah. Well, but
years ago. Which, by the way, his career best in sacks was with John Harbaugh. I know John Harbaugh's not the defensive coordinator, I'm just saying, but while he was on the Ravens, was his career best in sacks.
I was also that too. Like, he's been a journeyman that's also not been in the best situations out there. And his career best was with one of the better coaches in the league. I mean, when he was drafted by Houston, like, there were teams that were still getting 5 or 6 wins. I think that was a great season for them.
Yeah.
And then you go to Panthers 5 years ago, you know, it's been a joke. You know, between the Cam Newton days to last year, they have not had a 500 season. Yeah.
And like I said, it's
the Browns had a couple, and that was probably during the Baker days. The Baker days. Oh, yes. So, like, his stints, like Seahawks, like they've been good, but they're very interchangeable of what they've done in that defense.
Yeah.
Since their last Super Bowl win.
Yeah, not this one, the one prior.
Yeah.
And the second one they should have won.
Correct.
I gotta bring it up always. It just drives me nuts. Just run the goddamn ball. Anyway. Next up, we got Chris Omenohu. 28 years old. We're just butchering names again like crazy. 28 years old. Last year with the Chiefs. Spotrac saying $3.51 million. So definitely in the realm of actual, like, full-on backup now. 17 games, 28 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 13 QB hits, and a 62.0 PFF grade. Now, keep in mind, obviously, we have Chief connections here. Besides the fact that obviously Matt Nagy comes from there, besides the fact that obviously Harbaugh has a lot of connections to Reed, besides the fact that, you know, again, Spags, their defensive coordinator, was our defensive coordinator. You also have the fact to keep in mind the defensive pass game coordinator, Donald D'Alessio, was the safeties coach on the Chiefs last year as well. So there's a lot of connections to this guy as well that we have. And again, this is a true backup edge rusher. We need that. We need some depth. Honestly, I wouldn't get mad if we get like 2 guys like that. Get some depth. Ain't nothing wrong with having everything included the kitchen sink to throw out quarterbacks.
Yep. Throw that at the quarterback too.
Obviously, depending on the cost.
Listen, I want you to go to Ace Hardware. Get the cheap. They don't sponsor the show.
Don't you rile Jay up. One more we got here. We've mentioned him on the show before, so I'm not going to go too in depth with him. But Kyle Van Noy, obviously former longtime Patriot, has played last year with the Ravens. 34 years old now. They're saying $3.5 million is what they're expecting. 15 games, 20 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 9 QB hits, an interception, and 4 passes deflected, and a 61.7 PFF grade. Again, played for Harbaugh. That's the connection right there. You see Harbaugh people are Harbaugh people. That's the weird thing about him. Like, he kind of has that tough persona like his brother does, but he doesn't have the dick persona his brother does.
Fair.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, people like respect him, it seems like, whereas like Jim Harbaugh is like, he's just like a dick. We deal with it. He's a nice guy.
Well,
We know where it's coming from, but he kind of acts like a dick. Whereas I don't
I'm
think
gonna
he gets
I'm
that
gonna
with John.
I'm gonna steal this from Team America. I
Oh
guess
God.
John's more of a dick and Jim's more of an asshole.
We're not. I thought you were doing a different quote entirely, but we're not going to go.
I'm not gonna finish it because I don't need to talk about what dicks do to assholes.
Yeah. But anyway, Kyle Van Noy, Jadeveon Clowney, both of them, as Money Mike said, mentors. I think that'd be a value right there as well for either one of those guys is a mentor. Maybe more Kyle Van Noy because he's been on winning teams and stuff like that. But a mentor for Abdul Carter. Listen, I want to bash the guy again. He's young. We all did stupid things when we were young. Abdul Carter made a lot of mistakes last year, obviously. When he came out, once he started getting punished for it. It wasn't like he was late for one meeting, like, you're punished. You can't play for a quarter. It's your very first time. We'll teach you a lesson. No, it was multiple times before that. And we all know that Brian Dable was a jerk to his fellow coaches.
But he's a player's coach.
A pushover to players. Absolute pushover. So, Van Noy's would come in here basically and put him under his wing. And I'm sure that'd be the conversation Harbaugh would have. Like, listen, you know what it takes to be a true NFL player? Teach this kid. Put him on your wing. I like it.
Yeah.
I'd like it. So, all right. Let's go to what may be low-key one of the biggest holes on this defense. And that's linebacker. Listen, Micah McFadden, again, is a free agent. We don't know what's going to happen there, though we personally like to have him back. Bobby Okereke is, I don't want to start that fight again, but a potential cap cut, we'll say. You know me, I'd go full on Uncle Joey and cut it out. It's like it's time to go. But I know there's a lot of guys who still like him. We have a lot of options on the linebacker free agency market, guys. A lot of options that, quite frankly, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I would say just as good and a whole lot cheaper.
Let's go over the tape. Let's go.
You know my thoughts on Bobby Okereke. To me, he's a stack on power. By the way, his PFF grade, I know PFF's not everything, but just to give you guys comparison, we talk about some of these guys. His PFF grade, Bobby Okereke, 56.3.
Of last year? Yeah.
That's last year. That's 56 out of 88 linebackers.
Yeah. It wasn't so hot last year.
Does that sound like a guy that should be paid more than $10 million? Just saying. Even 10 million is an overpay. But like I said, we save, what is it, 9.25 by cutting him? So yeah, he's probably here's the options we got. Alex Singleton, 32 years old. They're saying $4.66 million. Last year with the Broncos, again, we're taken from a good team, a good defense. 16 games, 135 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 3 QB hits, 4 passes deflected, a forced fumble, and a 70.4 PFF grade. Now, on top of that, he was on the Eagles when Denard Wilson was there. So you have a connection with our defensive coordinator and him. If you sign this guy, hypothetically, the Giants sign this guy, we already know that means that Wilson is saying, listen, I liked him when we worked together at that point. I think he's a good guy to have. Let's bring him on.
And we know the Eagles.
We know the Eagles. And we know him. He was a damn good player for the Eagles. And he was a damn good player last year for the Broncos, too. Get some talent here. Next up is a guy that, quite frankly, I wanted him in the draft. And this is why I have him on the list more than anything else. I wanted this guy in the draft so much. Leo Chanel, 25 years old, 4.6 million, they're saying. Last year with the Chiefs, 14 games, 58 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 5 QB hits, 2 passes deflected, and an interception. Very good coverage linebacker, by the way. 75.1 PFF grade. That's the guy I would love to bring in personally.
He's a winner. He was a contender.
Got Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
Tell you what, you want to motivate some players, and when I say some, I mean the kind of players we should want. Put your Super Bowl rings on the table.
Yeah.
That's what motivates you.
Especially young guys. You come in there like, hey, take these off. That's what I brought to the table.
I've heard that phrase before, but not like that. But like I said, I think Chanel is the guy that I said, I pushed for him huge in the draft. When we first scouted him a couple of years ago. It was like our first draft I think we scouted was we got Leo Chanel in there. And he was, a 4th-round pick, I want to say?
I believe so.
I believe he was a 4th-round pick. I don't have that right off the top of my head, but at Wisconsin, remember that. But like I said, I really think that that's the guy that would fit this very nice because he can move around in a bunch of different roles. Another guy, Eric Wilson, 31 years old now, $4.32 million is what they're saying. Last year with the Vikings, 17 games, 115 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, 10 QB hits, 4 forced fumbles, a 62.1 PFF grade. I'll tell you this, and I got to know PFF's not everything, but how low that PFF grade, without even watching anything tape-wise, and saw a couple of Vikings games, so I'm very familiar with what his game was like last year, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if somebody just wants to look at stats and go, who's this, who's that? He's the guy that, I don't want to say he's the same as Okereke, but there was a little bit of stat compiling going on there. He was really good at getting the quarterback. Wasn't necessarily the best against the run. And that's the issue we've had, is stopping the run. So I'm not so sure that's the guy we want to bring in. But, again, him and Denard Wilson also were on the Eagles at the same time. So we do have that there. So, anytime there's a connection like that, it goes on the list automatically as a candidate. Because how many times do we talk about it? Giants go get a new coach. All of a sudden, you have 5 players in that team from that team on the team.
All the time.
And it's not just the Giants, guys. Every NFL team does this. You bring somebody in because you know the system. You know the person you're bringing in. It makes a ton of sense. So, like I said, maybe Eric Wilson's that guy. We'll find out. Here's a guy that we do know pretty well from our game we want to forget against the Broncos. Justin Sternett, who 29 years old, $3.81 million for saying last year with the Broncos, 16 games, 58 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 8 QB hits, 3 passes deflected, an interception, a 76.0 PFF grade. How funny would it be if we got both of the Broncos linebackers? Just cut Okereke. Don't re-sign Micah McFadden to get the 2. It'd be weird. It'd be fun.
It would look crazy.
It would be, but honestly, it'd be a huge upgrade. And the scary thing is, those two combined, again, Spotrac saying $8 million. Let's say hypothetically, those two together combined to be basically would have paid Okereke. And I see Money Mike with the Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd's getting paid, dude. We're not. Devin Lloyd wasn't even in the conversation because he's going to get paid $20 million a year. I guarantee you. We don't got $20 million to pay on a linebacker, and that's just not been the Giants' way. I'm still shocked they signed Okereke a couple years ago. The contract they gave him, overpay, by the way. Not because of what he did, but because what he got paid compared to what other linebackers got paid. Way overpaid. One more for you. Jermaine Pratt, 29 years old. No relation to Chris Pratt. They're saying $2.8 million. Last year with the Colts, 12 games, 101 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, interception, 8 passes deflected, a forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries, and a 63.0 PFF grade. I'm going to say this again, nice. I mean, I feel like I'm bashing Okereke this whole entire time, and I'm not trying to be that guy. But you always compare what you got. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm going to use this analogy, and it's horrible. It's like when you're in a relationship that you know is over, and you're thinking about your options, you're always going to compare to the one, you know what I'm saying? Or like you just left a relationship, like that kind of scenario. But I'm using that as what you're about to because I think they were about to cut Okereke personally. But there's a guy right there that gives you basically what Okereke gave you for a whole lot less money.
So she acts the same, but she's far cheaper to keep around.
Yes.
Let's just upgrade.
But I'm just saying, like, you just saved $6 million by signing this guy to $3 million, let's say, hypothetically, and cutting Bobby Okereke.
Nice.
So, and I see a couple guys like Quay Walker. Quay Walker is a good guy as well, and I didn't have him on the list only because, quite frankly, I think he's going to get way overpaid this offseason, and there's no connection to the Giants. Money is the only connection we would have at that point there. And I just don't think that – I think someone's going to pay him. Spotrac, by the way, $8.28 million what they're saying for him. But I think he's going to get paid. I really do. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, you never know. That's the fun. That's part of the fun of an offseason. You know, like I call it like the Christian Kirk factor. Remember when he got $100 million from the Jaguars when he was playing for the Cardinals? And everybody's like, who? What? Like, why would you pay that guy that much money?
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of stuff happens every year. Or the reverse happens. Like, who would have thought Jadeveon Clowney be sitting there in October for the Cowboys to pick up? Every year this happens. So, listen, if I'm wrong and he's got to be crazy expensive and somebody's not going to pay him $10 million plus to be a linebacker, because I thought his value would be, then yeah, I'd bring him in. I'd talk to him.
Be worth a while.
Definitely would be. So, all right, guys, before we get into this secondary, let's go ahead and pay the bills real quick there. So, as always, got to remind you guys that you, of course, can also, besides just doing the YouTube super chats and all, we do also have the buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs, which, of course, again, appreciate super chats and all. This is actually the way that is the lower percentage taken away from us. I'll put it that way. So also, of course, have the goofball shop there, 2giantgoofballs.shop.fourthwall.com. And of course, we have shirts, buttons, towels, all kinds of fun stuff there. And we still have the special, of course, going on for free shipping over $100 on the shop as well there, guys. And of course, the free way to go ahead and support the show, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button there.
Come on, man.
Go ahead and hit the thumbs up. You know, so let's get into the secondary, because we got a lot to go over the secondary as well, guys. Let's be very frank that besides the fact that we have tons of issues of stopping the run, corner is a very weak position for us. Cordell Flott's a free agent. Who is starting out there? Banks?
Woof.
Cordell Flott also, quite frankly, doesn't fit the defense. That wouldn't stop me from signing him. To me, you adjust the defense to fit the guy that you know can play there. But, you know, who knows if that's what the Giants are going to think now with this new regime. They might say, you know, we're bringing our guys in. So we got a list here. It's a combination of two things. One, it's got guys who literally were in the system for, you know, the Giants, whether it be, you know, working with Denard Wilson at some point or D'Alessio or something like that. It could also be just guys who are really going to press corner man coverage, because that's what we think is going to happen. It's going to be more of a press coverage kind of system. That's what Denard Wilson's known for. So you don't bring him in knowing that's what he does and go, let's go get the guy who can't press corner at all and plays his own defense. Like, that's not what's going to happen. So I have a guy who's a pipe dream for me, actually. I'm going to say that point blank. He's on the list. He's a pipe dream. I don't think it's going to happen.
It would be nice.
Impossible. And that's Jalen Watson, 27 years old. Spotrack's got him at $12.47 million. Played last year for the Chiefs, 15 games, 64 tackles, 2 interceptions, 6 passes deflected, 3 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits, and a 74.1 PFF grade. What I like about it is not only is this guy great for pass coverage, press man coverage, he also blitzes. He does things like that, which if you know a Denard Wilson defense, then this is a guy who is tailor fit for it. And again, you got D'Alessio, the defensive pass game coordinator, had worked directly with him with Kansas City. You have all the connections there. Again, they're thinking it's going to be like 9 and change to go ahead and get Cordell Flott back. If it's 9 and change, hypothetically, is $3 million going to stop you from getting the guy that you think fits better?
Especially it's going to make a big difference. Yeah, no.
I don't know if it does or doesn't. That's the thing. Without knowing the full plan, you can't even give that answer. But I'm saying if you can go ahead and talk to Brian Burns and convert $3 million into a signing bonus and free up some money that way and say, we're just going to get the guy that fits our scheme. We're going to get the guy that we think could be a number 1 and potentially, if Paulson or Debo doesn't get better this year, could take over the number 1 corner position. I'm not against that. I'm really not against that at all. And again, he's 27 years old. So you sign into a 3-year deal at that. I should say, be more than 3. It'd be probably a 4 or 5-year deal, but you can get out up to 3 kind of deal. Then you're golden. Because you got him before he hits 30 like that. And some guys are still playing good at corner at 30, 31, 32. I won't go too far past that. But
I was going to say, that's usually like
young man's game.
Player.
And then eventually, listen, again, he's a guy who can blitz the quarterback. He's a physical corner. Wouldn't shock me at all if this is the kind of guy that later in his career tries to convert over to being a safety.
I was going to say, he's going to move right inside the middle, right?
Like I said, I got no beef of paying a 27-year-old guy. I think it fits pretty well. It's close, though, which is why the second guy in the list to me is probably a no-go, unless he takes a short deal. And that's Jamel Dean. 29 years old now. Spotrack's listed him at just under what Watson is, $12.46 million. But this is a really good press corner guy. No experience with anybody at the Giants staff, but he is a press guy. And I can tell you just from as far as living again in the Tampa Bay area, the Bucs fans want him back so bad it's not even funny. But again, who knows if he wants to stay there? 14 games, 46 tackles. 3 interceptions, 9 passes deflected, a sack, a tackle for loss, 2 QB hits, and an 80.6 PFF grade. Really good season for him. And like I said, unfortunately, no connections to the Giants that I can sit there and say, we might be interested because of blank. This is a pure speculation off of a scheme fit thing. The only thing that would scare me is the age of 29.
And play like that's going to want to go somewhere and he's going to win. So,
but I wonder that, and we're going to find that out, I think, pretty early on this offseason. Do free agents view this as a place you can win now because of Harbaugh?
I mean, I think they do. So, like, I wouldn't leave it out of the question. I'm in the boat with you. Like, this is probably not going to happen, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if you hear about the interviews of him coming over here and talking with staff.
Again, it really depends on how bad he wants to be with the Bucs still. And you hear mixed on that, to be honest with you here. So, we'll have to see what he's looking at, what he's interested in, and take it from there. If the Giants are even interested. Again, I'm not so sure I want to pay top-end dollar, or at least mid. I wouldn't say top, because I don't say top at that point, but it's at least mid-end dollar for a corner that's already 29 years old and kind of at the end of his peak. I want to say, like, I don't want to say end of his career. He's probably got a few years to play, but he's at the end of his peak.
Yeah. Getting towards the end of the prime, if you will.
That's for sure. So, I think anything past like 3 years, you're kind of asking for it there. So going back to a little younger here, Josh Jobe, 27 years old. They're thinking $9.74 million. Played last year with the Seahawks, 16 games, 5 tackles, 1 interception, 12 passes deflected, half a sack, 2 QB hits, and a 56.5 PFF grade. Now, he's got a connection to Denard Wilson from their time with the Eagles together. Again, another guy who's very good at press man corner, fits the scheme, has the connection with Wilson, coming off of a winning team. I mean, you don't get much more winning than winning the freaking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So this is a guy that fits. This is not a square peg, round hole. This is a round peg, round hole.
Drop it in.
And you're basically looking at he's going to be the same money as Cordell Flott, but he's going to fit the scheme better.
And you have from a winning team.
Yes.
With a connection.
Yes.
So it's one of those guys you can bring here and be like, hey, this is what I did. Here's my Super Bowl ring.
Yeah. Like I said, I just feel like this is a guy that if you want to go that route, you can. Like, if you want to go Flott is not the guy because he doesn't fit the defense. Like, I'll respect if that's what their decision is, because in the end, Denard Wilson wants what Denard Wilson wants. Again, every time you change a coordinator scheme, this is what happened. Like, hell, we drafted freaking Deontay Banks because we wanted him to fit Wink's scheme. Every single team
that works.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's an interesting option there. Another guy who's known very well for press corner. Again, no necessarily ties to the franchise, so to speak, there. And we'll get to the injury he had this year in a second, because that's one that's going to scare me off completely, but I'm going to bring him up because he is a press corner guy. And he's on the younger side of 26, and that's Cam Taylor-Britt. Spotrax got him listed at $9.16 million. Played last year with the Bengals, just 8 games, 21 tackles, 5 pass deflected, 1 tackle for loss, a QB hit, and a 57.6 PFF grade. The issue with him is the injury. He had a Liz Frank injury at the end of November.
Yeah.
So I'm not too keen on a guy that was kind of struggling a little this year as it was, and has an issue with the Liz Frank injury. That was an off the field injury, by the way. So again, I'm going to put him on here because he's known for press man coverage, but not the guy I'm interested in.
I mean, he'd be able to hobble down there. There's a lot of IHOPs in New Jersey, so.
Next up is a Jekyll and Hyde corner. And what I mean by Jekyll and Hyde is, when you get these corners that have a great year, bad year, great year, bad year.
Yeah.
Like, this is the epitome of him in Greg Newsom II, Esquire. Just 25 years old, the youngest guy on this list. Last year, split time with the Browns and the Jaguars. The Browns traded him away after being a guy who excelled there for a while. And he lost his starting job. So, yeah. I just that just scares me. Like, the Browns City are not good enough for me.
Yeah.
So
That
kind of scares me. With the both teams last year, 17 games, 52 tackles, interception, 9 passes deflected, 2 tackles for loss, and a 55.4 PFF grade. But again, you got a guy that, if you can get him on the right track, is potentially the best corner in free agency this year. And that's the interesting part about him. Like, if you go back even to 23, he was really damn good. And then just something kind of hit in 24 and then got worse in 25. And you'd have to sit him down and find out if you think he's fixable. You have to watch a ton of film and see if he's fixable. The Giants think that they want to bring him in, sure. But I'll tell you right now, if you pay him $9 million, like they're saying,
no way, Jose.
And you get him instead of Flock, I'll be pissed.
I agree. And real fast.
Yeah.
Talking about Cam, Deb says on the field injury, like fall from a mechanical bull. No, he was actually in a car accident. He was the passenger. He wasn't even the driver. He was in a Jeep and it flipped. And
that's why I'm not going to bash him at that point there. But
yeah, it wasn't like he was in an RV and flipped it on a bye week.
Yeah. The reason I'm just saying it's an off the field thing is I look at that differently as like you got hurt playing because he really hasn't had much of an injury, issue
history.
Like
it's it's a car accident. Like people get hurt in car accidents.
Now he has had other driving issues. Ironically enough, that accident happened like shortly before he was supposed to start a 5-day jail sentence for reckless driving.
That's probably why he was a passenger. You think he was a passenger going away to jail?
Funny thing happened on the way to jail today.
My driver was so reckless. It was an Uber.
Oh my God. Next up is a guy that I'm really intrigued by because I liked this kid a lot when he first started up here. Another Seahawks guy, Tariq Woolen, who 26 years old, $7.53 million is what they're anticipating for him to get there. And the guy just started off so damn well. Like when he started off in the NFL, he was like a what the hell, how'd this happen kind of guy. And then all of a sudden, kind of tailing off a little bit there. Still a good player, though, just not nearly like the Pro Bowl level kind of guy he was when he first got in the league. Last year with the Seahawks, 16 games, 41 tackles, 1 interception, 12 passes deflected, a tackle for loss, a QB hit, and a 61.2 PFF grade. Let me be very clear in the fact that he is better than anybody. Still, I think that I still think I'd take him over Flott. And he fits the defense better.
And he just won
and he's cheaper. Well, he's like a coordinates bow track. I know that Jay will just love me saying that, but it's just like I said, I gotta look at that and go, yeah, I'd probably take him. I'd probably take him.
I mean, it's a quick upgrade.
By the way, he's also his name is Tariq. He goes by Reek as well. So if you see either one, you're like, same guy. Yes, same guy. He's called both names. But like I said, small school guy just kind of came in with scrappy. And like I said, I think a guy that, quite frankly, I would take in a heartbeat. No connection, by the way, to the anybody on the coaching staff. But again, here's a guy that comes from a winning team that won a freaking Super Bowl. Unlike the Bucks, who Ray asked will win, and Ray, no. Tampa Bay Ray in the house, but no, they will not win. You just missed it, Ray. We're just talking about potentially plucking Jamel Dean from you. So
we shall see.
No, I don't think that's. I don't think it's what's going to happen personally. Like I said, but you never know. Another couple guys here. Eric Stokes, 26 years old, so on the younger side, that's for sure. Spotrac saying $7.36 million. Last year with the Raiders.
The Raiders.
16 games, 53 tackles, 5 passes deflected, 3 tackles for loss, and a 73.6 PFF grade.
I mean, he performed pretty well on a pretty bad team.
Yeah.
which
means he can perform for us because we've been a pretty bad team for how long?
Yeah, well, we now got better coaching as well. And the Raiders just historically just look like they're about to do something good and then put egg on their face and just go play football.
Yep. So, like I said, and again, not too bad cost-wise, because this is one thing I think the Giants fans, we got to recognize as well is we've been talking about a guy to replace Cordell Flott. But what if you brought in a couple of guys in and actually created depth as well? And then just had a competition. Whoever wins the spot wins the spot.
Which would be
Draft
nice.
a guy, sign a guy. I mean, we need depth. We have no corners. You want Deontay Banks again, guys? I don't want him to do anything other than returning kicks next year.
No.
Yeah. Bank is closed. So next up is the Titans version of Deontay Banks. Kind of is actually.
Sally here.
Not wrong. Jason, how many guys are bringing in? I don't know. We're just talking about potential candidates. We're not saying these are all going to be signed by the Giants, to be clear.
Yeah.
Roger McCreary, who was a top-notch pick for the Titans, that just never was there. Just didn't show up. Didn't do his thing. Just wasn't right. Still just 26 years old. $6.15 million is what they're saying. And listen, he played for the Rams last year. His first year outside of Tennessee. 6 games only, 4 tackles, but he had a 69.2 PFF grade. This is one scenario. Again, this is why I'm saying where I don't always feel like guys are right on higher or lower with Spotrac. I think that's ridiculous. There's no way in hell I'm paying $6.15 million for Roger McCreary. If he goes for like $3 million, though, I would take him.
Yeah, he's definitely the guy you want to bring for depth. He's not the guy you want to bring for sure. Yeah.
And Denardo Wilson was his coach, obviously, when he was the DC for the Titans. Again, all the other Titans connections we have. I don't know, but here's the biggest thing that scares me about a guy who's a bust. When you bring in a bust, let's say, for example, I'm going to reverse it for a second. Evan Neal is a free agent. We all can agree that Evan Neal is a bust, right? I don't think anybody disagrees in that one.
Justin Timberlake said bye already.
So teams will look at him and go, well, he didn't succeed in New York. Maybe there was something wrong in New York, which, quite frankly, they're probably right on. And go, I think that we can go ahead and bring him in, coach him up, and get him right. And there's some logic to that if you can get him cheap enough, obviously.
I was about to say, a cheap cost.
Here's the difference. Roger McCreary didn't succeed in Tennessee. We have the Tennessee the Tennessee defensive coordinator. So you're bringing the guy in to get fixed by the guy who couldn't get him right to begin with.
Makes no sense.
No,
and
that's
what he's got.
If you can bring him in as a cheap backup, sure. But otherwise, I'm good on that one. I'm good. And that's funny. People talk about Evan Neal being a bust. Yes, he's a bust. Let me be very clear on that. I don't think anybody's fixing him. I also think we ruined him, but that's a whole other conversation. So,
he's flipping burgers. That's right.
Danny Thomas, real quick, asked about Nakobe Dean. He was actually somebody that I thought about as well. I think it's going to be too expensive, to be honest with you. And he's got a lot of injuries. We got so many injury people already. It's not even funny. And he missed 7 games this year. He missed a couple games last year in 24. He missed like 12 games in 23. His only full year he's had is his rookie season. I love the talent, though. When he's healthy, I think he could be a freaking beast in the NFL field. So, listen, if we think all of a sudden, having this new training staff is going to help, and we're going to, when Ronnie Barnes being gone, we can fix him and all. But I don't know, but I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm not into it. Oops. See, Rob's so good he left. That's how good Rob is. He left. So, we got one more corner for you guys here, and that's Jack Jones. 28 years old, one of the older guys in this list here. $5.08 million last year with the Dolphins, 17 games, 77 tackles, 1 interception, 6 passes deflected, and a PFF grade of 60.2. Again, I think a good guy to bring in necessarily if you want to bring in some depth, some competition. But I don't think he necessarily qualifies the guy we want to either replace Flott or, maybe replace Banks. That's not difficult. I could probably replace Banks at this point. But like I said, depth guy. We need depth. I'm tired of us bringing in no-name guys off the streets and practice squad guys up left and right to fix our secondary. It's a goddamn embarrassment. How many years have we done that now? Just fix the goddamn depth. And this is the easiest way to do it, is to go ahead and bring in guys, 1 or 2 guys that might be cheaper like that, see who drops a little in value, and just get somebody that fits the defense. So, all right, last group we got here. Let's get to the safeties here, because this is something that I don't think it's as much a need as I think it's a want for the Giants. Like, we need depth in the safety position. Let's get that right off the bat that are straight. We definitely need depth. But Harbaugh's Ravens were always known for having great safeties. It's just flat out what they were known for. And there's a few on here that are free agents that have connections to the coaching staff. That's what we're going to focus on, specifically that. Guys who would be a connection to another guy who's on the roster already, basically. And I see already Jay Snow with the Caleb Downs number 5. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, to be honest. I hear a lot of mixed on Downs as far as where he's going to go in the draft. And it's quite frankly, it's because of his position. But I'll say this. The Ravens didn't blink in Kyle Hamilton. Didn't blink. And flat out, I don't think they're regretting that pick at all. It's very safe to say. One of the best safeties in the entire NFL. Ours, on the other hand, Tyler Nubin's been a huge disappointment. We were high on him coming to the draft. I'll say it point blank. We have been so wrong on him, it's not even funny. He's one of the biggest disappointments that I've had as a Giants fan the last 5 years. I'll put it that way, because there's been some bad ones. Last 5 years that has just not performed to what I wanted. 2 years in. It's just not been at all what we wanted. So a guy we thought was going to be the best safety out of that draft class and just hasn't performed. So, but then of course we got disappointments all across the board, and we don't know if Dane Belton's going to be back. We just don't know what's going to happen there. He's actually a guy who's in line. They're saying, again, Spotrac, they're saying like almost $5 million for him. Is Dane Belton really worth $5 million? I don't think he is. Are we counting on Javon Holland to become a good Javon Holland again?
It's hard to say.
I don't know. So, we'll see. And there's a need here. And the question is, do you want to get depth in, or do you want to bring somebody in and say, hey, Newman, you haven't been good yet. You're on the bench. You'll be the third safety. All right. There's a couple options there, but here's what we got here. So first one is Brian Cook, 26 years old, $14.19 million. Played last year with the Chiefs. Again, we know the Chiefs connections. We've been over those enough. 17 games, 85 tackles, 6 passes deflected, 1 tackle for loss, and an 83.5 PFF grade. I think he's a little rich for our blood.
I'd say so.
But it wouldn't shock me if the Giants with Harbaugh, with Wilson go, we need a good safety. We need a legit safety. So what do you think? I mean, do you think that's going to be a position they look at?
Safety, yes.
I mean, do you think they could call it a priority, basically, is what I'm saying?
I think it's a secondary priority. I think it's going to be the situation where it's going to be let's fix the trenches on the defense first, and your secondary, which granted, secondary is part of safety is part of secondary, but you're going to want to fix your corners first, and then fix your defensive line at most the first thing, and then your safety comes into play. Because if you got a strong offensive line, you got a strong trench getting after it, you're going to make your quarterback make mistakes, and it's going to make the job of the safety a lot easier in their secondary.
I just think I said it could be a surprise. It wouldn't shock me at all. I think Cook's probably too expensive. I think the guy that I think would be the bigger surprise, and quite frankly, I think the better surprise, if the numbers right, again, what Spotrac is saying, Geno Stone, who's still 26 years old, $7.63 million is what Spotrac saying. Last year with the Bengals, 17 games, 104 tackles, 2 interceptions, 4 passes deflected, 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 4 QB hits, and just a 54.3 PFF grade. But we saw what success he had in Baltimore. when he was in Baltimore, when he was running as all over the field there as a safety for the Ravens, he was a goddamn beast, and he was like a borderline, borderline like a Pro Bowl All Pro kind of guy. His last season with the Ravens, he had 7 interceptions, guys. 7 interceptions. He's had 6 in the last 2, which would be great for a freaking Giant. Let me just say that right now. But 7 in one season, can you imagine? It'd be insanity. We'd be celebrating that week. We're celebrating Brian Burns.
Yeah,
we would. Flat out, we would be celebrating that the same as we celebrate Brian Burns and what he did. So, like I said, I think if that's what it is, and he wants to come play for the Giants at like $7 million, I would actually be for that. And he plays either safety position, by the way. I think he's a guy that comes in, fits this defense very well. Because of the fact that he's got experience with Wilson. He's got experience with Harbaugh. He can play their position. And then you go ahead and bring in Newman as a third safety if you need to. You rotate him around. And let's be honest, nowadays, guys, there's so many nickel dime coverage kind of things at that point there. It's not even funny. Or maybe what you do is because Holland, while he's disappointed in the first year, we're trying to be a little optimistic here. Maybe you bring him in, do coverage, because quite frankly, as much as I like Drew Phillips, the way he plays the run and the way that he plays and stuff like that, he's not a good coverage guy. That guy gets burnt more than a piece of bread in a toaster all the way to the right. I'm just saying, it's bad.
fair.
So I think it's a good option there to bring in a guy like that, bring in a quality piece to the secondary. And I don't think that's that crazy money-wise. But again, it depends on what we do, because like guys were saying, Downs and all, if we bring him in, then there's no spot for him. So, but we'll see. Again, I think the fact that we saw him succeed like that in Baltimore is a guy you'd be interested in. So, all right, next up, another guy who played in Baltimore just last year, actually. Alehi Gilman. $4.14 million. Played last year at the Chargers and the Ravens. So he hit the full Harbaugh gambit basically in one season.
Did he hang out with Dad?
Special teams for the Seahawks. He would have played for the third Harbaugh as well. So 12 games, 68 tackles, 6 passes deflected, a tackle for loss, a QB hit, and a 70.4 PFF grade. This is a guy that basically, again, according to Spotrac, I got to keep on saying that because we don't know what's going to happen money-wise. It would cost the same amount to get him as it would to bring back Dane Belton. I'd bring him back in a heartbeat. Again, I'm not a Dane Belton guy. Never have been, never will pretend to be otherwise. So I'll admit I'm like biased in that regard. I just don't like it when a guy is like the home run guy. That's what I feel like Dane Belton is. He's like the equivalent of the guy who goes up to bat in baseball and goes for the home run every single time and hits them, but also strikes out a hell of a lot too, because he keeps going for that home run. That's what I feel like he is. So, like I said, I'd go for it. I think it's a decent spot there to go for. Another guy that we have that's got some ties there, and I actually put somebody out of order apparently because he was supposed to go next. Reed Blankenship, who's still just 26 years old. 7.19 million is what they're saying. Last year, again, for the Eagles, obviously, I love taking from division rivals. 16 games, 83 tackles, 1 interception, 4 passes deflected, a tackle for loss, and a 46.5 PFF grade. I didn't stutter when I said that. 46.5. I'm good.
Yeah.
But he played with Denard Wilson. He played much better with Denard Wilson. I think if you can go ahead and get him much cheaper than the $7 million, if you can get him for like $4 or $5 million, maybe you take a risk. If he's 7, or as Jay says, he thinks it'll be $8 or $9 million, everybody's off on the Spotrac, then
He's also 34 years old. Like you start dipping
he's
down.
26 years old.
Sorry,
You're
wrong guy.
going to the next guy. Way to give away who the
Sorry.
next guy is.
Whoops.
I just think that, like I said, if you can get him cheap enough, I don't mind it, but I'm not going to pay him top dollar like that. I don't think he's worth top dollar.
No.
I think somebody might because he's an Eagle, because of the fact he's got a ring now and he's been on winning teams and all that stuff, which I agree with. I like that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I won't overpay for it. So, the next guy is the 34-year-old Tony Jefferson, who was a former Giant, of course, 34 years old, $3.94 million. Played last year with Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers there. 13 games, 57 tackles, 4 interceptions, 7 passes deflected, 1 tackle for loss, 2 QB hits, and a 70.3 PFF grade. Now, he played for years with the Ravens. Harbaugh has talked glowingly about him. Even when the Giants signed him, again, he was a Giant for 1 year. The Giants got him when he was converting over to safety the very first time. He's had a weird story since then because he kind of retired, came back and retired again and all that kind of stuff. But this is a guy that if you want a backup safety that can come in as a third safety, can be a spot guy to start during injury, he fits the bill. He fits the bill. And again, former Giant, played for both Harbaughs, fits the bill. I just don't know for how much longer. And that's the thing. You bring him on, he's going to be a 1 year, maybe 2 max as your guy, and that's it.
Yeah, 2 max.
If you want to draft a guy to be your replacement for him in a year or two, maybe that's the role you go with. You know, or like I said, you don't want to go into a draft for the hole. He's the plug your hole guy. And you can either draft somebody or bite the bullet and wait another year.
That's the best way to put it. It's you're going to cover me for now, and that's it.
Yeah. So, next up, we got a guy got a weird connection to the Giants here. Ifeatu Melifonwu, 26 years old, $3.66 million. What's Botrack saying? Played last year with the Dolphins. 53 tackles, interception, a sack, a pass deflected, a tackle for loss, a QB hit, basically one of everything. 62.9 PFF grade. Worked with Addison Lynch in Detroit when he was the defensive quality coach, and of course, Lynch is now on the Giants coaching staff. So again, we do have a connection to him. You know, I'm not sure if that's enough of a connection because it's not, defensive coordinator, head coach kind of connection at that point there. But this is still a guy that is a defensive backs coach, and this is a defensive back you want to bring in. So there's a potential there. There's a potential. Another guy, PJ Locke, 29 years old, $3.16 million, 16 games, 16 tackles, 3 passes deflected, and a 55.0 PFF grade. Was a Bronco last year again. Getting a guy from a great defense, getting a guy with a winning culture. Again, Addison Lynch was the corners coach last year in Denver, now our defensive backs coach. So there's a potential relationship there as well. Again, safety, not a corner, so I don't know how much of a relationship there was, but they were in the building together. Obviously, probably at least knew each other somewhat.
I was about to say, they definitely had to coordinate a little bit on different
I'll
plays.
put it this way. The guy who runs the sushi counter at a ShopRite also knows the guy who runs the deli counter.
Most of the time.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's not like they put dividing walls up. Like, no, I'm a corners coach. You're a safety. You stay away. I can't talk to you. Like, that's not the way it worked, One more guy as well here, a veteran guy, is Marcus Epps, who's 30 years old. He's starting to get a little up there in age there. $3.11 million. Played last year with the Eagles, 12 games, 21 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and a 56.3 PFF grade. This is a guy purely you'd bring in as a backup, a veteran backup if you really want one.
Yeah, it's your veteran backup that's just taken from the division rival. Like, that's your plus. That's it.
Yeah. Jay Snow says, what if the sushi guy doesn't know the deli guy? Well, that's because he apparently doesn't like sandwiches. I don't know.
Or they can never talk.
He says sushi and cold cuts don't mix. They don't mix for the same meal. Yes, you're not wrong on there. But
Don't wrap your salmon in your boar's head turkey meat.
I gotta say, I've never eaten them on the same meal, I think, but I can see myself having like, and again, I'm in Florida here, so we'll say the pub sub, because what somebody does here is the public subs, and having sushi for dinner.
Don't they have some of the gourmet sushi? Don't they have like the ceviche, the beef ceviche, like thin raw slivers of beef over top of the specialty rolls? So they could
What are you
intertwine
talking about?
sushi rolls.
Who's they?
Like a higher end, like if you go
I'm talking
to
about Publix, right? Don't they have these?
oh, get out of here with
beef?
Publix. That's in there. Go to like ShopRite Sushi. You go to some. I'm talking
I
about
used
like
to shop right the first time for y'all because
I know. I'm talking about specialty rolls. If you go to like a nice actual sushi restaurant, you get a little beef ceviche. They'll line it over the top of a specialty roll.
Beef ceviche.
Yeah, so like just like if you do tuna or like salmon like this, then they slice it where it's raw and cold.
Yeah,
But rare, I should say, not raw.
Depends on who makes it.
Yeah.
But a little beef tartare, perhaps.
Ooh.
I've had beef tartare. It's actually pretty good. I think these beef sushi rolls are going to be up there now with the pot roast burritos from now on.
That's the Golden Corral.
Oh,
that's
my
gonna tie in.
Golden Corral, the home with the pot roast burrito and the beef ceviche sushi rolls.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Well, God, that was it. Gaja. I'm pretty sure used to do that over in Old Bridge.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there just for that alone. But anyway, guys, that's gonna call it a night for us here. We will be back tomorrow night for you guys, where we of course do our exciting chapter of special team people. Okay, I'm kidding. We're not gonna do that. Nobody wants to do that. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow though to give you Drew does naked yoga with Mike and McFadden in Tampa Bay. Again, Mike and McFadden trains down the road from where I live. I've never met the guy,
but I've seen his hog.
What are you talking about? You just okay. We're just gonna go ahead and hit that little mute button right there. There we go. That fixes that. Anyway, we'll be back again tomorrow night with you guys there to discuss the latest and greatest Giants news there. We will, of course, be, as always, live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, like I said, for the rest of this off season as well for you guys. Like I said, we don't take weeks off. We don't take off season off. It's the on season for us. We'll probably be starting soon, even our draft coverage, because we started a little late last night. It was like a scramble to the finish there for us. We're doing like extra episodes trying to get it all in even at that point. So like I said, we'll probably start on that soon there, which be weird because we're going to do a quarterback one when we don't have a need for a quarterback.
Oh yeah, but you have to. We have to go there.
No, we're going to do it. Do every position group always. I'm just saying it's going to be interesting because we don't typically have that, concern at that point there. But going, oh, we don't need a quarterback. Guess what, guys? This year we don't need a quarterback.
We don't need a quarterback. We don't need a quarterback.
Say that so. But like I said, we'll be back with you guys tomorrow. We appreciate you guys for watching, listening, supporting as always. Keep in mind, as always, we are live again on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, X/Twitter, and of course, Rob's favorite.
And of
course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones there. And of course, Spotify will have the video usually within about 24 hours of the release there, depending on when I can actually be home for a little while to do that. It's a weird system with Spotify. Anybody who knows that does any content creation, you literally have to post the podcast and then upload the video from there, unless you want to host specific with Spotify. And there's all kinds of issues doing that. I won't get into the weeds too much with you guys. But like I said, so it will be there with usually within 24 hours. I think it's gonna be the rule we're gonna make from now on. Appreciate you guys again for watching, again, supporting all, and gotta say hi to Ronnie, who pops in late here as well, there with the little
What's up, Ron?
green martini glass there, it looks like there. Or is that like absinthe in there?
I think you say it's a dirty martini.
It's a dirty martini.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's olive.
We only have one martini here in my home, and it's the cat.
Fair.
Yes. Those who've been around for a while remember when I got Martini, because Martini was in the room with us during the first shows for a while because she was annoying the hell out of the other cat. So, again, guys, we'll see you guys
look
tomorrow.
like Spectre.
Oh, now she's got champagne. I'm beginning to think that Ronnie's very drunk. First it's martinis, then it's champagne.
She's cheersing us.
Next thing is the whiskey glass.
Hey. Shot glass out.
You guys. We'll see you all tomorrow. Again, 9 p.m. as always. And before you leave, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up too, guys. We are definitely lower on thumbs up here. I hate to be the pest about that, but that helps huge with getting this spread out here to all the other viewers there on YouTube land there. So again, appreciate you guys for watching, supporting
guys,
as always.
Give a big old cheers to Ronnie out there.
There you go. See, she's laughing like crazy now. She's got to be drunk.
No, she said not yet. She said not yet.
No, she said not whiskey yet. She didn't say. She didn't say that. She just said not yet for the whiskey. She didn't say she wasn't drunk yet. All right, guys. Again, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you guys for watching, supporting as always, and we will go ahead and see you tomorrow. As always, Giant fans. Go G-Man! G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.